pesticides and fungicides and herbicides and larvicides. Mostly, we'll get into that. And we're going to show you guys how to make a really healthy, simple, delicious meal that you can make for your family or for yourself very quickly. I mean, it takes very little time to make this kind of stuff. And there's also many variations of this. There's no one size fits all, but we're going to give you kind of the raw wrap recipe that Blake sent out to you. I have almost all the stuff here that he requested, and we'll make it out of that. Now, I've taught raw and living food classes to over 5,000 people in my home over the course of about 5.5, 6 years prior to this class. And I literally, when I made a transition to a healthier diet, I made these living food wraps because they were just very quick. They were easy. They were filling. I liked them and they satisfied me. And they actually they just felt good, right? They just felt good. But it was great because even if I was overeating, because I used to eat like Garfield, and the reason why is because on a cellular level, I was deficient in nutrients. I was dehydrated. So my cells were telling me, Tim, go eat. And I did, and I ate a lot. So I developed a habit of eating lots of food because my cells were craving nutrition. Now, once I started putting nutrition in, then I started feeling better. Here, I'll hold it for a second while you let Jerry out. So I have to hold the camera for a second because little doggy's got to go outside. So when I started eating all this really good food and nutrition, like we're going to show you tonight, my cells started getting what they wanted and the hunger cravings left. And in a very short while, I lost 42 pounds. It was actually really shocking. It took about 60 days. I lost 42 pounds and I'm about the same size that I am today. And I've been able to maintain this for 11 years, but more importantly, the weight falling off was literally a byproduct of these lifestyle changes, me detoxing at the deeper level and cleaning out my gut and my organ systems, and then flooding my body with nutrition. But even with that, as the nutrition came in, I had still developed those habits of overeating. So what was cool about it is that if I overate this stuff, it wasn't that big of a deal, right? It didn't weigh me down so much and like put me to sleep like after Thanksgiving turkey dinner, right? I mean, anytime you eat food, it's going to make you a little tired because the blood is rushing from your body into your organ system to digest the food. But for me, with this healthier types of food, I would just I would overeat and then it wouldn't be that big of a deal. So if you find yourself in these situations where you're overeating, understand that most likely it is because you're cellularly deficient. And once we start replacing this true nutrition with things like these green powders and sprouts, which I have behind me here, you guys can see those. I'm trying to run the camera without completely blind here, but living foods are so important, and you guys can get these down at Nature's Pantry, or if you're listening somewhere else, if you're not in La Grande, get yourself some sprouts. Blake, have your sprout sales gone up over the last couple of years down at Nature's Pantry?
Oh yeah, we sell lots of sprouts.
Okay,
nice.
Well,
it's because
I'm encouraging everybody on this call tonight to make a huge section at Nature's Pantry to be sprouts and to request more and more and more sprouts and grab them, and don't be delicate with them. Eat them. 50% of your food by weight when you go to the Hippocrates Health Institute in West Palm Beach, Florida, is sprouts, because these are living foods for your living body, and they bring in hormones, oxygen, phytochemicals, and enzymes. And these are these micronutrients that you're not getting from you're actually not going to get it from this cucumber, right? Because this cucumber was picked probably 2-3 weeks ago, maybe a week ago, shipped on average 1,500 to 2,500 miles, and the life force is gone. Now, it still has vitamins in it, some trace minerals and minerals, and that's good. And that is a good movement, a good step, definitely a good step. But these living foods are so important. And I actually call these living food tacos. And then I coined the phrase, Tim's Living Food Tacos. Where do you think I got that? My name is Tim. That's where it came from. It was very profound. I know you guys were going to really be moved by that. So anyway, I just want to share that with you because my health was really suffering, guys. You know, I was really suffering about 11 years ago. I was bleeding rectally. I had what was called leaky gut syndrome. I had to have an organ removed on a vacation. It ruined my vacation. I had a big fat gut. I had eczema on my elbows and my knee. It was bleeding and cracking, and I would ruin my shirts with it. And I was, again, bleeding rectally. And if you're in that situation today and you're like feeling stuck, and maybe, you know, you can't lose the weight, or you've got some issue and maybe a doctor's not telling you like, hey, you're fine, all your blood work's good. You know, there is a solution, and the solution is loving yourself. And when you start loving yourself, you're going to open yourself up to possibilities and new things, right? And new foods and detoxing and nutrition and hanging out and being part of great groups like we've got going on here that Blake's put on with Nature's Pantry. So I think we should all give Blake a hand for putting this together, because, you know, Blake, I actually just talked to Chelsea Rohan. She's part of the challenge. So Chelsea, if you're out there, I'm really proud of you for doing that. And maybe if you stick with it long enough, your thick-headed husband, who's one of my best friends, Sean, will come along. So that's a little rip on Sean. So I'm still a little redneck. So still like doing that a little bit to my buddy. So, all right, so let's get into really healthy foods. Let's celebrate movement in our life and moving forward to a healthier you, so that you can wake up. And as our camera person, who's also a coach and one of my best friends, Rebecca, says, we just want to wake up and feel good. Right? That's what we want. So this little meal here today is one of those little tools you can put in your toolkit for your life and your health and your family's health, so you can wake up and feel good. Real simple. All right. So you're going to need a bowl, and you're going to need a spoon. And what we're going to do is you're simply going to get some hummus. Now, hummus is made out of chickpeas. So a lot of people, as they're, you know, a lot of people are like, well, Tim, how do I build muscle? How do I be healthy? How do I lower my cholesterol? Well, a lot of it is just lowering your meat intake. Now, if you're from Eastern Oregon, that's probably a rough pill to swallow because of all the elk hunting and deer hunting and chukars and pheasants and, you know, the fishing over there, all that stuff. But the reality is that the overconsumption of animal protein destroys human health. Okay. And nobody would know it better. And for those of you that know me from Eastern Oregon, nobody hunted more than Sean and I. That's Chelsea's husband. So, and what you'll find out is there's this big myth about protein, right? Big myth about protein. And, you get it from plants. So this chickpea, this is Blake said, get Lily's hummus. So we've got Lily's hummus, and we're going to put that in there, get the organic kind. We're just going to put some hummus in there. Chickpeas are actually 25% protein. Think about that, 25% protein. All right, so we're going to put that in there. Now, what I like to do is I like to mix some sprouts in there. So maybe you can just zoom in and look at this stuff really quick, and I'm going to grab some sprouts out of the fridge that I forgot. They're still in here. Yay! Okay. So this is something, now check this out. I have just a little bit left, but if you guys look in there, this is a lentil mung bean fenugreek mix. Now, what I love about this is I'm just going to put some of these in here. These are living foods. Okay. So we'll put some living foods in there. And this is how I made those tacos for over 5,000 people. And this is, now think about this. I've got green lentils, I've got red lentils, I've got mung beans, and I've got fenugreek, which is a Greek hay. They all sprout at the same time, and it's wonderful. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of coriander in there. Here, so show that, it's coriander. And then also cumin. Now, if you don't have cumin, you can just do coriander. If you don't have coriander, you can just do cumin. So today I'm out of cumin, so we're just going to do coriander or cumin. I don't know how you pronounce the darn thing, but you know what I mean. C-U-M-I-N. Let's just get it in there. Now, that's going to give it kind of like a Mexican flavor, right? Now you can do whatever you want, and then you just stir it up. That's it. Just stir it up. This is really hard work. Oh God. And we're pretty much, it's done. There we go. In fact, I think I can get the rest of those in there and just use them up. So I'll just stir those up. And that's it, guys. You've got some hummus in there. And then now this is the meat of your taco. That's what we got there. That's the meat of the taco. Now, moving on. You can, what are you going to use for taco? Are you going to use a corn shell? No. I mean, I guess you could. We're going to use this time, let me pick out some real nice ones. I'll pick out this one. We're going to use romaine lettuce this time. Now, you can also use butter lettuce, works really nice. There's actually living butter lettuce. Blake, I don't know if you guys carry that or not, but it's got the root ball still attached. You pick lettuce out of your garden during the summertime and the fall. You can also use cabbage leaves, collard leaves, right? So there's different types of vegetables that become the taco shell, right? And so we're just going to use a couple of these, and then it's really simple. Here, I'll put this up here so you guys can see it. And we're just going to spoon in the mixture. It's really just that simple. Okay, so boom. Like I said, these things, guys, do not take very much time to make, and they're filling and nutritious and wonderful. Okay, so now we have the meat. Grab the towel. Awesome. All right, now you can put whatever you want on it. So in this situation, let's put, we're going to put some cucumbers. I've already chopped these up. We'll just put a few cucumbers on there. And it's okay if they don't all stay because you can pick them up and eat them. One thing that's really cool is like if you go to third world countries, I've been to some third world countries, use your fingers a lot, use your hands. I mean, people have to everything, forks and knives. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's kind of fun to eat with your hands. Kids love to do it, and I think adults too, but we forget to play and use our bodies so much, and we overcomplicate things. So boom, and then we're going to put some red peppers in there. That's really beautiful. It's really pretty, and get some color in there. Now think about it. Already we've got this romaine lettuce. We've got romaine lettuce, hummus, cucumbers, red peppers, mung bean, lentil, fenugreek. I've already got 7 varieties of foods in there, and we're going to keep going. Now, let me find, here's an avocado. Hopefully it's a good one. This knife is laser sharp, so I'm going to be very careful. Hopefully this one's good. I don't know. Well, that's interesting. The inside's really not that great, but whatever. I'll just get it out of there. Avocados are kind of hit or miss. All right, let's put that off to the side. Taste it, make sure it's good. Okay, pretty good. So we'll just put a little bit of avocado in there. I'll just slice this up.
Do you like to put the bee sauce and the sauerkraut in too? Do you mainly just do the sauerkraut on yours?
Yeah, we'll put that on next.
You know, I noticed for me, like I never thought I liked sauerkraut, but once I started trying them on this recipe, it was like took this thing over the top for me.
Yeah, and there's actually a reason for this. So here's what you can do. And you see we got these 2 tacos here. Everything's looking cool. Now we're going to do the sauerkraut. Now you guys can put the sauerkraut directly on the taco if you want to, like people do with hot dogs. Or you can do what they do at the Hippocrates Health Institute. And I think we're going to do that tonight. We'll just kind of mimic Hippocrates, and we'll just kind of make this really cool. I'll spin this around. So we're going to get it looking good. And you're going to take 1 to 2 heaping tablespoons of sauerkraut. Okay. And you're going to put that on the dish. Right there like that. That's beautiful. Put that there. And the reason why, now when you go to the Hippocrates Health Institute, this is where people are going that have crazy cancers, fibromyalgia, all kinds of stuff. They've had high-level athletes that go there to win gold medals, and they've helped a few people win some gold medals there. Heather Mills went there when she got her leg cut off. I don't know if you guys remember this, but she was dating Paul McCartney and got in a freak accident, and then her stump basically got infected, and they had to cut off more of it, and then they had to then it got infected again, and they had to cut off more of her stump, and then her friend said, hey, look, you're infected again, you're going to die. So they went to the Hippocrates Health Institute in Florida, and they just taught her how to basically take raw, fresh pressed garlic and cold pressed olive oil and mix that together and let it stand for 30 minutes, 1/3, 2/3. And they taught her how to bandage her stump with that. In 2 weeks, she was running around on her prosthetic. Now, what does it cost to make garlic and olive oil mixture? This is a topical that knocks out all bacterial infections, and it's good. You can keep it in your fridge for 3 days and it's good. I prefer to make it fresh every day for wounds, but whatever's left over, you can make a salad dressing with it, right? This is the type of medicine. So food really is medicine. Hippocrates said that, let thy medicine be thy food, and let thy medicine be thy food, and thy food is thy medicine, right? Now, so Western medical doctors and stuff like that, no offense, but they take the Hippocratic Oath based on that dude. And but they, I will do no harm. But they really miss that, let thy food be thy medicine, and thy medicine be thy food. So if you're suffering right now, you have to understand that your body is a system, And you have inputs, and then inside from an engineering standpoint, you have transport, conversion, and storage, and then output. So we don't want to be a dumb system having those 5 components. We want to be an intelligent system. We want to add some other components. We want to have a sensor looking around. How do I feel? Am I feeling, do I wake up and feel good? Or do I have to wake up and stimulate myself with coffee, 5-hour energy drinks, donuts, and stuff like that just to get through the day, right? Am I on medications? We have to sense this stuff. How's my energy? How's my mental clarity? So we have to sense this stuff. Is it working or it's not? And then we have a controller, and then we make adjustments to the input, and we keep changing the input until we get the desired output. That's how you change things. You can't expect change if you keep doing the same thing. So food is medicine. Now, so next, Blake wanted to put we had some green onions here. So these are fun. I'll just chop up a couple.
Another quote I like is, if the diet is right, medicine is of no need. And if the diet is wrong, medicine is of no effect.
Was that Thomas Jefferson?
I'm not sure. I think that is in the Daniel Plan. That is right.
Okay. Yeah, good stuff. Proof's in the pudding. You know, I grew up on the standard American diet. At age 37, my health was falling apart. I learned about detox and real nutrition and food as medicine. And I embraced it because I feel like I have a complete do-over. Like I'm 48 years old, and like I pretty much don't get, I mean, over the last 11 years, I hardly ever get sick, like ever. And I feel amazing pretty much every day. Now, I will say this, when I had yoga in my life, for the last 11 years, I never got injuries. But for the last year or so, since COVID, I got out of yoga, going to the gym, the yoga studio every, at least 3 to 6 days a week. And now I started, shoulder injuries. I have a little neck injury I'm getting over right now. So movement's another one. I know we're focusing on food today, but when you start eating foods like this, you're going to want to move. You're going to want to start going out for walks. So if you're not exercising right now, I would suggest 2 things. I would suggest walking and then mini trampoline. All right, so back to the taco, because these tacos are so fast, we have to talk about other things, right? All right, so these are pretty much done. Now, I wanted to talk to you.
Tell me about that.
I'm going to put a little bit of smoked paprika on these. Now, in the beginning, I was such a meat freak, and everything was so green, I put smoked paprika on it just so it had the color of meat. And that makes it look real, real good. And then the last thing we're going to do here is I want you guys to get some lemon or some lime and then just squeeze some lemon or lime on it. Okay. That is really going to tie in the flavors and really give it that pop. It's really awesome. So lemon or lime or both. And now another thing you can do, I know that Blake had a hard time bringing it in the beginning, which is the original bitchin' sauce, just because of the name. So it didn't offend people, but it's basically just an almond-based sauce. And I have my fork here, so I'll just put a little bit of this on it. We'll just drizzle it over the top. And like, if you don't have lemons, then if you just have the sauce, that's fine. This does have a little lemon juice in it, but there we go. And we're pretty much done. Now, if you wanted to, you can put some pepper on it. Like if you like things a little spicier, you could put chili paste on this. You could, I always recommend, here's some garlic powder if you wanted to, put a little garlic on there, give a little garlicky flavor. And then here's something that I brought up, really important. So this is mustard seed. Very important for those of you dealing with thyroid issues. Selenium is really been farmed out of our soils today. I would suggest using mustard seed. Just be very careful because it's kind of a hot spice, but it's the best source of selenium on the planet is the mustard seed. And then you can put a little bit of that in your foods. You can put a little bit in your dressings. Actually, some dressings you can put a lot. So just daily, just dosing yourself with that, right? And then the other thing is dulse flakes. Dulse is a sea vegetable that's high in iodine and iodide, or you could use kelp, K-E-L-P, and then dulse is D-U-L-S-E, dulse flakes or dulse granules, kelp powder, kelp flakes, right? And then there we go. Now you've got iodine from the dulse and the kelp. You've got selenium from the mustard, great for your thyroid. We have tons of issues today. We need to bolster and strengthen those. And guys, think about it. We've got cabbage here. We've got the lettuce. We've got the avocados. We've got the green onions, the red peppers, the cucumbers, the fenugreek, the mung beans, the 2 lentils, the chickpeas. We have about 14, 15 varieties of foods in these in these simple tacos, and they're absolutely delicious. So let me take a bite. Let's see how they turned out. In fact, I'm going to make sure I got some bitchin' sauce on the end.
Eat a rainbow of foods, rainbow of vegetables. You're going to get all your vitamins, all your minerals, all your enzymes. And those look amazing, Tim.
Dude, it's so good. And what's cool about it is you can make different variations of these things, right? You could take mint leaves with lime, or you could do, basil leaves. You could put like herbs in here. You chop up some rosemary. Maybe you do some fresh pressed garlic and lime and avocado in these things. And you could almost like a guacamole type thing, or have some tomatoes in there and stuff like that, right? Yeah. Play around with it. Just think of the base. The base is you're going to have instead of a corn or wheat flour tortilla. Now, the reason why we're staying away from wheat and corn is because they've just been hybridized. They literally, corn's 92% or higher chance of being genetically modified, which means you've disrupted the metabolism of the plant, and the plants now produce formaldehyde. Think about that. Where else do we find formaldehyde in life? Where are we seeing that? Mortuaries and like 7th, 8th, 9th grade, frogs in formaldehyde in biology class. So that preserves bodies, preserves flesh. Why would you want to eat a plant that's been genetically modified that produces formaldehyde and start pre-preserving yourself? That's what's happening. You're slowly shutting down your system. That's why we stay away from corn, unless the corn is heirloom, and it's also definitely non-GMO, grown in high quality soil, heirloom corn. And then I like it to be through what's called a nixtamal process. That's Nixtamal, nixtamal process. It's a fermentation process. Then that corn's really good for you. We're lucky here in the Portland area. We actually have a company called, I think it's called Three Sisters. Is that right, Rebecca? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Three Sisters, nixtamal corn. It's great. But other than that, you might want to stay away from it pretty much, especially if you got health issues. Now, wheat, stay away from the wheat because it's like got the gluten in it. It's like glue to your gut. Again, GMO, hybridized, pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, larvicides. If you're going to use a type of a flour tortilla, go look for kamut or spelt tortillas or chickpea. There's a brand called Siete brand. Blake, you guys have those chips. Siete brand has the flour tortillas that are made of chickpea. That's the healthiest one of the bunch that they have. Now, but beyond that, you just do this. Use a romaine lettuce leaf, or use the cabbage leaf, or use the, what's that?
Siete has taco shells too.
Oh yeah, that Siete brand, they actually have the hard shell tacos, like their chips that are made out of a root vegetable. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And really they don't have, and they don't use the seed oils either, safflower or sunflower, like the inflammatory oils like most chips do.
Yeah. And you definitely want to make sure that the oils are not canola, which is another word for rapeseed oil. And canola oil should only be used for like machinery, but it's in a lot of products. So look out for that. And just try to make sure that your oils are not expeller pressed. If you see expeller pressed, that means it was pressured at high pressure and heated. Those oils were heated, and then they turned into lipid peroxides, which are known carcinogens like cancer causers. So you definitely don't want that. So you want cold pressed oils, avocado oil, coconut oil, and sunflower oil, stuff like that that's natural. Try to stay away from these weird oils, especially if they've been expeller pressed. So Blake,
Tim,
did you have other questions about the raw wraps, or does anybody out there have questions about raw wraps?
Yeah, tell me, I want you to talk a little bit about epigenetics or nutrigenomics, or the idea, is it really true that we really are what we eat, and that our Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. So what he's talking about here is you guys probably the best person to explain this. If you want to go further research, I'll just touch on it because I know we have limited time tonight. Is Dr. Bruce Lipton. Dr. Bruce Lipton is a 50-year cell biologist, and he spent his whole life with microscopes looking at cells and what happens, putting things in petri dishes, humans, cell tissue, and then adding certain things to that and seeing what happened. And what he discovered is that, first off, the whole science was based on that the nucleus was the power generator of the cell. So Bruce had an idea, nobody thought about it. He's like, I'm going to take the nucleus out and see what happens. He takes the nucleus out, the cells lived. So he completely just decimated the whole science industry, right? So then that flipped him on his head. Then when they got these newer microscopes, they could zoom in farther, and he was seeing like receptors or antennas. And he was like, and then he figured these out, that they were antennas, and that these cells were receiving signals. And then he was like, wow, where's the signal coming from? Now we're talking about a guy that's not religious, atheist. And when this hit him like a thunderbolt, he became spiritual like that. Because what he realized was, because he actually saw the data, and I've heard this in other terms, but from his work and other things that I've learned, we have to realize that this body that we've been given, it's like a radio, or it's like a television. We are just the receptors. We actually have the receptors on our cells. So where's the information coming from? Now you can call it God, he, she, it, the vortex, Jesus. You can call it whatever you want, whatever your religious preference is. I totally approve of all of that. But the reality is that we have receptors, and these frequencies are coming from somewhere else, not from this physical body. Now, that might be a hard thing for people to understand, but we have the physical proof now. Now, take that fast forward. So Bruce takes these cells and, he adds, let's say, a carcinogen to the cell. So we know we have this known carcinogen. It's going to take the cell and turn it into a cancerous cell, right? And we look at that, right? And that's pretty much what a lot of genetic research is, like Race for the Cure, and all the money people are given, and they get the businesses to give money. They take a cell, they put it in a known environment that's going to cause it to mutate to cancer, and then they study that environment, try to come up with some type of a synthetic molecule that they can patent for massive profits, so that you don't have to change your lifestyle, you don't have to change your diet, you don't have to learn how to make raw wraps, you just keep eating your hamburgers and your French fries, and over, cake, ice cream, candy, potatoes, like I was doing, and then your health's crappy, and just like, give me a pill, and I don't want to change anything, right? And that's where we've got today. So what he discovered he called it, he said, it's the environment, stupid. It's not that we have our genetics do not determine our fate. That's the bottom line. Our genetics do not determine our fate. They do not determine our health. Only about 2, maybe 3% of the situations, well, you maybe have a genetic heart valve mechanical thing or something like that, totally genetic. And that's where Western medicine shines. They can come in, they can fix that defective heart valve. But for 97% of us, 97% of what we got going on, we can change our genetics through our environment. And what's our environment? Our environment is our stress. How do we handle stress? Our environment is the air we breathe. Our environment is the water and the liquids we drink. Our environment is the food we eat. Our environment is anything that comes into contact with our skin, be it shampoos, lotions, underarm deodorant, harmful if swallowed toothpaste. Contact the Poison Control Center. Read your toothpaste. Why would you put that in your mouth? See, you go get something healthy and you create a different environment for your oral microbiome without fluoride. And guess what? You're going to change how the genetics. Another perfect example that I like to give is, let's say you're living in Chicago, you're putting the trash out in the alleyway. Garbage company comes, they take the trash, right? It's gone. Everything's working good. Garbage truck company strikes. Now what? Trash piles up. Then in comes the bugs and the rats and the disease. That's what's happening in our internal bodies, right? When you eat cooked, processed foods and you're stressed out, you don't drink very much purified water, you're drinking lots of beer and pops and cokes, and you don't move much, you're creating an environment that's welcoming in these bugs and rats, basically the viruses, the bacteria, the molds, the yeast, the fungus, the parasites, the mutagens, the cancers love it because now you're creating a low oxygen, high acid environment, and they love that stuff. This is why when we went to Hippocrates, we literally, they put you on the highest oxygen, like a high alkaline diet that you could possibly imagine, changing the internal terrain. And then guess what? The harmful organisms, they pack their bags and they leave because polar bears don't live in Florida. That's my point. You change the environment, different species live in different environments, and harmful organisms hate oxygen and they hate alkaline. So if you are living on a standard American diet, you are on a low oxygen, high acid diet, and you are just sitting there saying, give me disease. I'm going to create the environment. And then you go to the doctor and they're like, here's a freaking pill. That's not the solution. The solution is these epigenetics. It's the environment that dictates how the genes are going to express themselves. Okay, so that answers that.
So we can actually change our genes by changing our environment, by learning how to deal with stress, by changing our diet, by changing our, one of the things that's really remarkable to me is this idea that our bodies are continually remaking themselves. All the cells in our body are being remade. Our hair remakes itself very fast. Our skin remakes itself very fast. Our bones are actually completely remade every 10 years. And what our bodies are remaking themselves out of is the food we eat. Mm-hmm. And so, for instance, our hearts are being remade out of the food we eat, yet cardiovascular experts don't really have any education in nutrition, and so it's like, well, how, and this is pretty new science really that we're learning. And so, it's an important piece of the subject, and maybe a piece of the topic that we're missing these days, right? I think it's Thomas Levy that said, viruses attack and infect those with the weakest immune systems. Poor nutrition and poor general health are always precursors to viral infection. And then it's in the Daniel Plan where Rick Warren says, when you provide the conditions for a thriving human being and you remove the impediments to health, disease often simply goes away as a side effect.
Yeah. So those viruses and bacteria, Blake, and for those listening, and the harmful organisms, they're there for a reason. They're there to make us stronger, to go up into our interferon system. So our interferon system, which is part of our immune system, can develop resilience, right? It's just like, think about the kid, it's got the silver spoon in his mouth, got everything handed to him, wealthy family, and then he has a hard time making something of himself. But the kid who had, the high waters and hand-me-downs and had to work really hard in the lawns and to buy his first baseball glove, and then, he gets a paper route and chops wood for a living to put himself through college. That sucker, it goes out and he kicks butt in life, right? Because he developed resilience as a young age and as he grew up as a young man. So he's able to actually function and grow and evolve. That's evolution, evolve, where the other person's de-evolving. And that's what we're doing. We are de-evolving because we're trying to run around and put Purell on and live in fear. And you can't hide from viruses and bacteria. The corona thing's never going to go away. They can call it Delta variant. They can call it whatever they want to. Viruses are always mutating, right? Your body actually has 380 trillion viruses in it. Your body has 380 trillion virus cells, 60 trillion bacterial cells, and only 6 trillion human cells. So we are more viruses and bacteria than we are human cells. So wrap your head around that first off and understand that these things are out there to provide resilience to us so we can become stronger and we can evolve. And if we try to hide from them, we're going to de-evolve, we're going to become weak. And eventually when we do get weak, they recycle us back into the dirt and we go back into the cycle of life. And that's the way things are supposed to be. But while we're here, if we participate with them and understand how they work, then we can have a strong, vibrant, healthy, happy life. And we don't have to worry about getting sick and get disease, right? We don't have to worry about that stuff. You can build up your immune system simply by changing your lifestyle and your habits.
Well, thank you, Tim, very much. So tell me about this detox class that we got going. I want you to do a little rundown of your detox that you do for us, and tell me about the Green 85. Tell me about the gut detox, because those are really,
let me come over here and show this.
That's a really important piece of the nutrition. Like we also need to learn how to flush detoxes and chemicals and toxins that we're exposed to.
Okay, cool. So here, I'll just move this. And then, can you see me? Okay.
Yep.
So the food's awesome, right? Food's great. You're going to change your diet. But like what we teach over here at chemicalfreebody.com is that the first step, it's really not the food, because that's usually scary for people in the beginning. Now, everybody here is participating in class. They want this. Definitely want to, you're ready to change your diet. But before that, a lot of people, it's hard for them to make changes. So we want to baby step them. So what I want to do is we're going to take advantage of that epigenetics. We are going to change your internal terrain. And when we change the internal terrain, we change the environment, and we're going to change your genes, literally. And you're going to start feeling better. So we do this different. We do this, number one, by getting people to start flooding their body with purified water. This is number one. Your body's mostly made of it. People are 95% of you listening are not drinking enough of it. And when it's hot out, and if you're a triathlete or something like that, you need even a little bit more. So the rule of thumb here is half your body weight in liquid ounces daily. So if you're a 200-pound individual, that's 100 pounds. And if you're a 100-pound individual, that's 50 ounces. So 200 pounds, not 100 pounds of water, 100 ounces. Okay, let's be clear on that. So that freaks people out, like 50 pounds of water. So this is very important. Now, because we want to hydrate that colon, we want your cells to be hydrated. Okay. With that, the most important thing is this product right here, is this gut detox product. Blake has all of these products down at Nature's Pantry. And if you don't live in La Grande where you can get to Nature's Pantry, then you can go to chemicalfreebody.com and just purchase them direct. But if you're in La Grande, please go patronize them. They carry it there. All right. And so gut detox, this is an ancient formula that will clean out the 6 to 12 pounds of impacted fecal material and mucoid plaques that you have in your small and large intestine, right? So what we're talking about here is that if your car is not running well and you just start putting good fuel in it, like better food, okay, that's good. But if the car's not running well, doesn't it make more sense to take it into the shop, flush the transmission, flush the engine, new spark plugs, new fuel filters, put new fluids in it, and then put in the good fuel? Yes. And then maintenance that sucker. So think of this as your gut mechanic. Now you can go get colon hydrotherapy sessions, which I totally recommend, but a lot of people won't do it. They don't have access to it in some areas. So this will work. So you want to get 2 bottles originally, one for the initial 15-day detox. You'll do 3 in the morning, 3 at night, and for 15 days. And then after that, just 3 a day for maintenance. I've been doing this for 7 years, 3 a day for maintenance. And it keeps my digestive tract and those little intestinal villi clean, so that I can absorb nutrients properly and process and create that peristaltic action that moves my food through me properly. It's a wonderful ancient formula from India. That's number one. And then we
tell me again real quick, how much impacted fecal matter do most of us have in our digestive tract?
It's about 6 to 12 pounds is average. The first time I did it, I got weighed. I did a colon hydrotherapy session in an hour. They clean. You basically set on a tube rectally. Water goes in and out gently for an hour. And I dropped 10 pounds. 10 pounds of funk and gunk and junk that had accumulated in my lifetime in my colon. The average. Now, the record at the Institute was one lady dropped 27 pounds, something like 27 pounds in 1 hour session. Think about that. That's the size of a small dog.
That's insane.
Crazy.
That's not healthy.
No, but even if you have 1 pound of this nasty crap in there, you want to get it out. So you can do colon hydrotherapy and this, or just do this. And that'll do it. And then
gut detox product will help gently do that.
Oh yeah, gently with no diarrhea. That's the key. So you can work, you can play, you can travel, you can do all that stuff. Okay. Now the other detox product we have is called Toxin Detox. Toxin Detox is for the heavy metals, mercury, cadmiums, leads, the radiation, pollution, automobile exhaust, jet fuel, pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, larvicides, all this garbage, right? Glyphosate. Right, these things we're exposed to. This was actually 2 formulas was developed for the military to pull the depleted uranium out of the soldiers from the tank rounds. But we combined them. It's Toxin Detox, a very gentle, powerful formula, and it just works really, 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 really well. It's awesome. So what I do is after the initial 3 and 3 on the gut detox for maintenance, my day looks like this. I wake up, I have a big glass of water with the green 85 in it. I shake it up. This is my nutrition. This is my vitamin D. I've got 1,000 international units of vitamin D in here. And then I just wash 3 of these and 3 of these down. Now I've got my insurance policy, right? I got my guts taken care of, and my organ systems are getting cleaned with this one. And this one purifies my blood, fat, and muscle tissue of the heavy metals, radiation, and pollution. We live in a freaking polluted environment today. And this is sub-basement to the foods, right? These are your mechanics. This is replacing the 85% of the nutrition in the soil. And then over here, we actually have a much more powerful strain of probiotics and prebiotics to start rebuilding the gut microbiome. Remember I said earlier, you have about 60 trillion gut bacteria, right? Well, they've been hammered. Have you ever had antibiotics? Anybody had antibiotics out there? Well, you wiped them out. Alcohol, stress, all these things, chemical pollutions, knocking back your gut microbiome all the time. So what you want to do to replenish it is things like raw sauerkrauts, fermented foods, kimchi's. There's a Japanese thing called natto. I don't really like it, but it'll work, right? And get outside and get in the dirt. This is really important. The gut microbiome is also the same as the soil microbiome. That's where we get. So get out in nature, get out in the woods, get in the dirt. And then you can take probiotics, and these have prebiotics in them to feed them. So we actually deliver the food. So if you're on the all cooked diet, like I used to be, and you're not getting that good natural fiber that's uncooked, which is the food for the gut bacteria, we put them in there for you so that your gut bacteria can grow. This is a huge part of your immune system. This is a big boost to mental clarity because the gut-brain axis, the gut is connected to the brain. So if you're dealing with mental fog, and these two together, actually, the gut detox and the probiotics are like 1 + 1 is like, 1 + 1 is like 10. It's like 10x for gut health and brain health, having these two together. And then the last one we have is our ultra enzymes. Now, I would say that over 80% of people have poop problems, right? Just having problems with diarrhea, constipation, gas, bloating. It's just not consistent. And, you know, the first thing that we really teach is to chew your food until liquefied. So important, so important, so important. Chew your food until liquefied. Less than 4% of the population is doing this. These digestive enzymes in the beginning, especially when you're having your heavy meals, you just pop 1 or 2 of these. These are going to help you to liquefy the food and assist you as you're rehabilitating that gut. So this is an important point. How do you rehabilitate your gut? Why do I need to do it? If you've been on the all cooked diet your entire life, like I was, the cooked foods are like a broomstick doing bench press. There's no resistance there. They've been denatured. It's basically mush going through you, right? You destroy the structure of nature when it's heated. That's what happens, right? So if you're lifting a broomstick through your digestive tract, basically, your whole life, you have your digestive tract has atrophied. And that's why the gas and the bloating and all this stuff, right? Plus, you probably are doing improper food combining, but that's another class. So what's the weights? What's the resistance? Well, the resistance is this right here. The resistance is this: sprouts, uncooked, unprocessed food. So here's what you want to do. Whatever percentage of your food by weight right now is currently uncooked, unprocessed, living raw foods, just bump it up 10%. Eat 10% more of raw living foods, chew them really well, and take digestive enzymes with those meals. These will be like the spotter that's going to start helping you as you throw the weights on. Now you go, well, I got 225 pounds on the bench press. I can feel this. You're going to feel raw foods. This is why a lot of people, they go 100% raw and they really get gassed and bloated and plugged up because they were so atrophied. It's too much resistance. They can't handle it. They've atrophied. You have to rehabilitate that gut. And for you ladies out there, abdominal and core exercises for those of you with severe gas and bloating and constipation, abdominal core exercises 6 to 7 days a week are going to be an additional thing that you're going to need to look at and do if you really want to get your gut action move back and rebuild those stomach muscles. Just men have a little bit more abdominal core strength there just naturally than women. So women really got to work hard on that. It's really important. So this digestive enzyme formula is very profound. I made it the best that I could in the industry, and I've got gurus that have been around for 30, 40 years, and they all tell me that I have the best ones. And what we did was we actually added minerals to it too, because we know that we're deficient in minerals. And I did that so that I knew you're going to take it with the food, and I would put the minerals in that we're missing. But what actually happened was we got a synergistic effect, and it actually boosted the enzyme activity. It was unexpected, but was happily accepted. And so now you get the minerals, but they're really boosting and maximizing the enzymes. So that's it. So those are our products. You can start with, we have a little jumpstart bundle. You can start with the gut detox and the greens, or you can do the total energy and detox bundle, which is all of this and another can of these, or anywhere in between. There's bundles. Just pick them up and get started, and stay consistent with it.
Oh, awesome, man. That's such good information. You know, you're such an inspiration. You have such a wealth of knowledge. I always enjoy having you on the Vibrant You Health Show, and these raw wraps that you've taught us how to make over the years many times. It's a staple of our home now. And they are honestly, after you eat these things, you feel good. Like literally after eating these, I could go run around, play with the kids. I have energy. You know, there's a lot of times if I eat something not good for dinner, I will, you know, be like laying on the couch and not want to be engaged in my life. It's like you know, so I didn't really realize how bad I felt until I realized how good I could feel after eating.
Yeah. And think about it. The quality of your food is going to dictate the quality of your life and your relationships, your finances, and everything. So, you know, having quality food is going to give you the energy to play catch with your son when you get home after work rather than falling asleep on the couch. The quality of food in your life is going to dictate your quality of health. And so, like, you can, you know, come home from work and not be exhausted, and you can go out and play on the trampoline with your daughter. Right? This is what we're talking about. This is like real life stuff. It's serious business, but we can have fun with it. And don't buy into like, oh well, you know, you're just getting older. That is crap. That is crap. Who said this earlier? That our cells regenerate. So watch your finger. It might be in the camera. Our cells regenerate ourselves. They're going to regenerate themselves based on the building blocks that we give them. Remember the input and output. Don't be an open or dumb system and just look at the TV and just grab it and keep doing the same thing over and over again. Be an intelligent system, sense what's going on and control it and make different changes to your inputs. And I hope that you guys add raw wraps to the input to this beautiful system that you've been given, the human body, to carry you around and to function, to raise your families and live and prosper.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much, Tim. And thanks to our wonderful camera woman this evening. Rebecca, you did a wonderful job. And yes, thank you so much. Yes, amazing of all the close-ups and all the special details. And just remember, you guys, you know, health, yeah, there they are. You know, just remember, health is the greatest wealth. So invest in your health because you are worth it. All right. Oh, and one more thing I was going to say is that we actually have these meal kits. So like Tim said, you can get those supplements on his website, chemicalfreebody.com. You can also get those supplements here at the store at Nature's Pantry. And what we also have is on our website, this cooking class, as well as the instructions for it. And you can also, if you choose, you can come into the store and buy the ingredients, or you could even click the button and order a meal kit, and we'll get the meal kit put together for you. And you can just drive up and pick it up.
Cool.
Oh, that's cool.
That's awesome.
Make it easy.
Yeah.
Make healthy right down there at Nature's Pantry.
some of that Eastern Oregon hillbilly coming out. I love it. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Appreciate you. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, everybody. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and here's to good health for all you and your family.
Absolutely. Okay, bye for now.
Bye. Bye, Felicia.